To your 10-point plan for youth engagement. I'm going through it as we speak. One of your standout proposals I'm seeing here is to establish a traders bank to support the informal trading sector, especially youth entrepreneurs. And I'm quite interested in this because I'm wondering, how will this differ from existing financial systems?
Number one, 70 to 80% of all young people, skilled, unskilled, are in trading or in commerce. I would have wished that many more of these young people would have transitioned, let's say, into manufacturing, into agriculture, into tourism, other sectors of the economy. But that's what it is now. The majority of them are trading. And you can see, you go into the streets, you go into the markets, they are trading. Now, so anybody who is engaged in trading will tell you that the most important requirement for them to succeed is cash, is money. And unfortunately, our banks do not have the interest, the appetite to lend to young people, particularly those in commerce. They are not bankable as far as the banks are concerned. And that's why you find that many of the people who are trading, particularly the young ones, have very little capital. But it doesn't make sense. If this is basically the majority of your population and your future, and they decide to remain in commerce, then you have to provide the opportunity for them to have access to capital. And that is why I have made a commitment to establish a traders bank. A traders bank meaning that this is government supporting the trading community to establish their own bank. This is not a state bank, but this is government providing them with a seed funding to establish their own bank, which will then benefit the young people, because the young people are excluded to a large extent from the formal banking sector.
But where will government get the seed funding from?
Interesting. Last time I came, I told Aisha that we have such excellent resource here in multimedia. I'm just waiting to rope all of you into my government, because your insight is fantastic. Yes.
Thank you.
Government has resources, partly from the revenue that they mobilize from taxes and other sources. And they also have the capacity to actually mobilize money from development financial institutions. And depending on the strategic orientation of every government, they can decide where to deploy those resources. That's income from revenue or from other sources. I believe that if we are looking at the strategic interests of the commercial and trading sector, then government must prioritize the deployment of such resources in supporting traders to have their own. But remember, if traders have to borrow at very high interest rates, then obviously the cost of capital for them will be high, meaning that they would also pass this on to consumers. And they are the channel for every individual in Ghana to be able to buy goods and services. So if they borrow at high interest rates, then obviously they will pass it on. And that also then becomes inflationary. It causes inflation. So it makes a lot of economic sense that if those in the trading sector and in commerce are able to borrow at reasonable rates, then they could also sell and market their goods at reasonable prices. So there's a connection between inflation and the cost of capital for those in the trading sector. But of course, please, don't get me wrong, this is not free money.
Okay, you pay back.
Yes, this is government providing seed funding on a work and pay basis. And can you imagine the anonymity or the strength of people in commerce, in trading, and that if we mobilize all of them and we provide that seed funding and help them to set up professionally, a trading bank, as I'm suggesting, it will probably become the biggest bank, not a state enterprise. All we need is to help them to start. And when they start, even with the susu, yes, they mobilize small monies and then they take off.